Hello, Mr. Fry's Geometry class. I'm taking a look at Unit 12, Homework 4, Compound Probabilities, and let's get going. I'm going to do at least half of these with you. When we're looking at questions 1 through 3, we're looking at these markers, all these different colored markers. They all add up to be 36 when you're taking a look at those. So the probability of picking a yellow and then a red when they're replaced. So the bottom number doesn't change. It's going to be 36 both times that you're picking from. So yellow, there's 14 of them, and red, there were 9 of them. So you just multiply these together, and you get 7 over 72, and 7 over 72 is just take 7 divided by 72, you get 9.7%. If you have trouble, making these fractions less, I mean, you could go right from this and do 126 divided by 1296, and you'll get the 9.7 still. But if you want to simplify them and you're having trouble simplifying them, I am putting a link to the address that I go to. Just to plug them in, it makes it a lot easier to simplify. It's a little simplifying calculator that's online. So look for that. Pause this as I'm moving forward if you need to. If they're both red, well, there's 9 reds. So you pick a red, you put it back, you pick another red. What's the probability of that happening? Well, 81 out of 1,296. You divide those and you'd get 6.25. Or if you want to go ahead and reduce the fraction, it would reduce down to 1/16, which is, once again, 6.25. You'd get the same answer when you put in your calculator this divided by this as this divided by this. Same answer because they're equivalent fractions. It's amazing. The spinner below is spun twice. Find the probability. Okay, so getting a diamond would be 4 out of 6, and then getting a circle would be 4 out of 6. So that would be 16 out of 256. If you just divide those, you get that percentage, 6.25%. Or you could reduce it to 1/16. I wanted a, I wanted one that is a both one to give you help with number 5 too. So both unshaded, that just means unshaded, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 6 of them. And so both times it would be 6 out of 16, all right? Multiply them together, 36 out of 256 is 14%. If you wanted to reduce it, I'm showing you what I reduced by the numerator and denominator by 4. It would be 9/64. So for these, we're working with a bag that contains 20 slips of paper, individually numbered 1 through 20, and the word Pennsylvania. So what's the probability of picking a number less than 15 and then a vowel? So that would be 14 out of 20 and 4 out of 12. And that would be 56 out of 240. Here it is reduced, and here it is as a percentage. That's 23.3, and it repeats percent. What's the probability of, with this scenario, of picking at least 11, so that's 10 out of 20, and then an N, that's 3 out of 12. Well, that would be 30 out of 240. Divide both the top and the bottom by 30, you get 1/8. If you were to divide 30 by 240 or 1 divided by 8, you get 12.5%. Bella guessed on the last 3 questions on her science test. If each question has 5 answer choices, what is the probability she got all 3 correct? Well, that would be 1/5 times 1/5 times 1/5, or 1 over 125. And that would be 0.8%. If you put a 0 in front of that, that's fine. Let me explain number 14. So, what the work that you had to do. I picked number 14 because I figured, it's a lot. It looks like there's a lot to it, but it's not really that bad. 2 darts are thrown at the dartboard below. Funny looking dartboard. The darts are equally likely to land on any point on the board. And what is the probability that one dart hits the white area? That's going to be the triangle. And the other dart to hit the dark gray area. That's these just these corners. So the entire area we have to find out. So that'd be 16 times 16 or 16 squared, which is 256 centimeters squared. The white area is just this. It's that triangle. So half the base times the height, which is half 16 times 8. I know it's 8 because if the diameter is 16 in the circle, well, then the radius is going to be 8, right? So, and that would be the height. And so I just multiply that out, and that would be 64. So down here, you can see I'm doing 64 out of 256 would be the probability of, first of all, us hitting a white area. And then in order to figure out the dark gray area, I have to subtract the whole circle. So I have to find the area of the circle, which is pi r squared. Pi is 3.14. The radius, as we said earlier up here, is 8. And that's squared, and that would equal 201 centimeters squared. So I just take that amount and subtract it from the total amount, and that gives me the dark gray area, which is just 55. So all of these little corners add up to be 55 centimeter squared. And so that would be 55 out of 256. So you multiply these two together, and you get this crazy large fraction. If you were to take this divided by that, you would get 5.4%. You could just stop right there. Or you could, you could simplify the fraction, and that website will, tell you that, well, 64 goes into both, and then it gives you the simplified version, which is 55 over 1,024. For 1 through 18, you're looking at basketballs, baseballs, golf balls, footballs, and there's 25 altogether. So out of 25. Now, it's not replaced. So you pick one, and then it's not replaced. So you have one less. So I have 7 times 3, and I have 25 times 24. Okay? And just let me make sure my math is correct on that. Oh! 25 times 24 is 600. So I was having some issues with that. Okay, sorry about that. I'm going to have to change this answer a little bit. So that would be, let me see real quick. That's going to be 21, and this is going to be 600. And calculate, and so we still divide by 3 and should be 7 over 200. Sorry about that. And it's not going to be 3.6. It's going to be a little bit different. It should be about 3.5%. So 3.5%. I don't know why I had 576 there. That is odd. So 600. And I think I would still divide by 3 to get 200. And this would be 9.5. Let me change that to 9.5. Okay, that's 9.5. Sorry about this. I was doing something different. I divided by the wrong number. But it should be 57. Let me make sure. 57. And leave 20, and leave 600, yeah, divide by 3. See this calculator on Calculator Soup, you just put the numerator and denominator, and I have the link to that on the front page if you want to simplify others. And it shows you what you would divide by, so it would be 19 over 200, which is, you just take 19 divided by 200 on your calculator and you get 9.5%. Okay, let's take a look at number 19. Number 19, I had a little boo-boo here. I thought this was 20 at first, so I originally had 20, 19, 18, just in a hurry. So if this is a lesson for you, go back and check your work as I did, because I don't know what I was thinking. It should have been 30 and then 29 and 28, because you're picking and not calling the same student more than once on this. So there's 12 boys, 18 girls, and so if you randomly calls on 3, what's the probability they're all 3 girls? So he's got 18 out of 30, and then the second one would be 17 out of 29, and the third one would be 16 out of 28 probability. Multiply all these together, and you get this crazy fraction. If you were to just divide that number by that number, you would get 20.1. I rounded it, it's 20.1 something or something. So I also, use that website that I just showed you, and I saw that I could divide both the numerator and the denominator by 24 to simplify the fraction down to 204 over 1,115. Okay, and then this one, taking a look at these, what helped me with this is to make like a Venn diagram here. So we have 50 students all together, so that's 12 plus 8 plus 16 plus 14. Where I started was there's 16 of them that are taking both art and music, right? So if there's 24 that are taking art, well, that leaves 8 left for art alone. And if there are 30 taking music, well, that leaves 14 left for music alone. So you add all these up, I think it's like 38. Yeah, 38, 50 minus 38 leaves 12 that don't have art or music, okay? So taking that information, you're going to take a look at both students that would be taking art. So that would be 24 out of the 50, and then 23 out of 50, because it doesn't matter if they're taking art and music or not, it's just those 24 students. So 24 out of the 50, so that one's pretty easy. Divide both by 2 to reduce it down. If you take this fraction or this fraction and treat it as a division problem, you're both going to get 22.5%. Okay? And then this one, both students take music but not art. So music but not art, so that's going to be 14 out of the 50, and then if you pick that one student already, it's going to be 13 out of 49 because you've taken one out. So 14 out of 50 times 13 out of 49 becomes 182 over 2,450. If you were to just divide those, you would get that 7.4%, or you could reduce it down to 13 over 175, and that would be 7.4% too if you treated it as a division problem. Okay, good luck with the other ones, and like I said, I'll post that reducer calculator help on the front page of this also. So good luck.